This should be the last video talking about my own experience, background experience, work, education, what led me to come here to the Philippines, when I did and how I got here. So the last video I was discussing how things didn't go so great, and luckily I was able to find the USO there in San Francisco, and through some luck and chance, I was able to eventually get my ticket figured out to get here to the Philippines. Before I discuss the part about my arrival, I want to give a big thank you to the USO at San Francisco International. My personal opinion is they truly did save my life. I was at a very bad point in my life before I left, and in a sense, moving to the Philippines was kind of be my last option. Something I didn't really talk about much before was, and I mentioned a little bit, but the VA was seeing me for PTSD, depression, anxiety, and I was on a suicide prevention program because that was something for me that was definitely on the table as an option. I wasn't going to just off myself. I had what I called an exit plan. If for some reason I decided, okay, that's it, I'm done, game over, I quit, I don't want to play anymore, I wasn't just gonna, blast myself in my living room. I wanted to do it in a way that would be clean as possible, less distressing on the family, and also not be something that would have such a negative impact on other veterans. My plan was to go through, sell everything I owned, all of it. If I couldn't sell it, throw it away or give it to family. Take all the money that I got, save up for a month, and then just take all of that money, purchase a certain narcotic that essentially is assisted suicide medicine, travel down to Los Angeles, go to the beach, blow my money on a good time down there, and then when all the money is gone and all I've got left is my bottle of pills, I would go down to the beach, kick back, relax, have a couple drinks, take all the meds, go to sleep, never wake up. So that was my exit plan. It kind of freaked out my VA counselor when he heard that I was moving to the Philippines, because to him that sounded like I was going through with my exit plan. And I told him, no, this is to avoid that exit plan. I'm going to actually try and live a happy life. But once I get on the plane and everything, my life is really looking good. I'm getting very excited and anxious to get here and start a new life with somebody that I cared about, possibly have the chance of having kids and a family of my own, of just being able to live simple but comfortable. And all of a sudden that was taken away from me. My flight is canceled. I don't have money for another ticket. The country is slowly closing down because of all the COVID that's spreading around. And I was basically homeless, abandoned in the airport with nothing but my luggage and a couple dollars in my wallet. Even though I did not qualify completely for access to the USO's services, they were understanding of my situation. They were clear of my disabled veteran status, why I didn't have 100%. They were okay with that. They were compassionate enough to understand the situation and to help me out. By being there and being able to sit and bullshit with the guys there and just have access to the computer systems, the phones, charging, a place to crash, a place I could grab something to drink or eat without having to pay for all that stuff, they gave me the time and the resources to figure out a new plan of action to get here. If I hadn't had access to that, honestly, I would have just dropped my fucking luggage right there in the terminal, walked outside and stepped in front of a bus or something. I would have just been done. And really the USO and their services and everything that they provided, that was enough to get me back on track and to get here. And so because of that, yeah, I do truly feel that they saved my life. So with that being said, once I actually was leaving, there were a couple of hiccups with like customs. When I was departing the United States, I had in my travel, my carry-on bag, I had my shaving kit with all my stuff, so shaving supplies, toothbrush, and all that. And the guy sees I've got one of the larger cans of like Gillette gel, for shaving. And he says, this is not allowed. It's an aerosol and it's too big. And I'm like, okay, you're still doing all this crap? September 11th is long over with. I thought you guys had eased up on your restrictions. He's like, no, it's totally brand new, unused. He yoinks it. Obviously, one of those guys took that shit home at the end of the day so they could keep it. That kind of pissed me off because I knew that was one of the items that might be a little bit difficult to find here in the Philippines, since normally here they only have the foam crap. But yeah, whatever, I'll figure it out. And when I was coming from Japan to go into the Philippines, same kind of shit happened. Inside of my travel kit, before I had left, I purchased a 2-pack of the really good, high-end, more expensive Colgate special toothpaste, for like sensitive gums and all that kind of shit. I had one of the toothpaste tubes was open, but it was inside of my travel shaving kit bag. The other one was still in the box, unopened. That was also inside of my travel kit. He's going through and looking at everything, and he sees the brand new box of toothpaste, and he grabs it. He says, this is not allowed. It's over the size allowed. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's only like 100 milliliters or some shit, and the one that I had was a little bit bigger. So he takes the brand new one. The used, like the just freshly opened tube that's in there right next to the box, he doesn't touch that fucker. He leaves it there, even though it's the same size. He doesn't care. But the brand new unopened one, yoink, I guarantee it's because that dude or one of his buddies is going to take that fucking toothpaste home at the end of the day and keep it. Little things like that kind of piss me off, annoy me, but whatever. I'm still able to get to my destination. So I arrive in the Philippines. Hadn't been here in 16 years. It felt so good to finally be back. I get there, go through, off the airplane as you're coming through. You get in line to go through customs, through immigration. There was a little bit of a line of people. I go through and, they ask me for all my paperwork and stuff, show them all that, everything's good to go, boom, okay, get your luggage. I go over and, I've been here plenty of times. I know about all the little way things work, the scams and all that. I know that the airport is not what you would call secure. They let people from outside the airport come into the airport, into even like the baggage claim area when they shouldn't be. And what you'll sometimes see is there were people around there that didn't look like passengers that are yoinking luggage off of the rotary thing. I'm getting kind of concerned somebody's going to grab my luggage and just haul ass with it. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. Where's the luggage cart? Like, how am I going to? So I'm just sitting there, hoping nobody grabs my bags. I see my bags come off. I'm grabbing them real quick. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, where's customs? I'm looking around. I see everybody going out the doors to leave, but I don't see customs. And I'm kind of freaking out. I'm like, okay, what kind of scam is this bullshit? It's almost 11 p.m. I got to get out of the fucking airport, and I'm not seeing where customs is at. You got to clear through the customs in order to be able to leave. If I just walk out of the door without going through customs, I know somebody's going to come and grab my ass and try and fine me or something. Oh, you didn't go through customs. That's a 1,000 peso fine. Just kind of a typical scam or something like that you might find. They weren't doing that. So I'm asking around. And I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to leave the airport? And they're like, go out the door. I'm like, I haven't been through customs yet. I'm like, go out the door. So, a little bit leery. So, okay, I ease my way out. And sure enough, nobody stops me. Wait a minute. I just came into the country, but I'm not going through customs? This is not what I'm used to here. I get outside, meet up with my girlfriend at the time, now my fiance Vina. I meet up with her. We go over to one of the Grab booths. They order us up a car, throw the luggage in the back of the car, and head to the condo. Arrive at the condo. By this time, it's past midnight. Go in, go up to our room. I'm beat dead tired. I'm stressed. I've got, so we just basically dump the gear. I go in, I take a shower, get changed, and we go to bed. That was one of the weird things, is she was staying with me, sleeping in the same bed with me. I told her, we're going to have separate blankets just so it doesn't get weird. In fact, I'm first time we're meeting in person, even though we've been talking for a year. She didn't mind sharing a blanket, but I wasn't, trying to do anything, if you know what I mean, that early. But yeah, the arrival part went pretty well, a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I could see, it's dark, it's nighttime, I can't really see the city or anything like that, but there was just a lot of things that I could see that were familiar. Sights, sounds, smells. Just so much was familiar to me that I hadn't been able to experience for so long, and it felt good to be back. The unfortunate thing was, when I first got here, I was kind of just going into tourist mode, where I was like, okay, I went, we're staying in a hotel or a condo, whatever, right in the middle of Quezon City. We've got all the big ass malls right across from the main highway here. Next morning, I just want to go out. I want to see, I want to explore. I want to see, like, how has things changed. I want to go out and enjoy a lot of the foods that I missed, and just go walk around the malls. Like, all these things I wanted to do, but I got no money. I had $86 in my wallet. When we went to one of the bigger malls, inside of a grocery store, they had a customer service desk that also was a money changer. They had a fair exchange rate, not the best, but it was still safer, closer, more convenient. Went in there, took the $86 out of my wallet, did the exchange, got enough money to be able to buy groceries and all this and that, and we were okay. But it was just a very difficult first few weeks because money is tight. Luckily, the whole place that we're staying in is paid for. The only thing we got to really pay for is transportation costs, laundry and water costs, and food costs, food and groceries. We got a grocery store right downstairs. We don't have to spend a whole lot of money. We don't have to go out and eat at the expensive restaurants. We were okay. Transportation on the weekends or whatever to come over here to where her family's at, where we were going to start looking for apartments. That wasn't too difficult. But really, it was a close call getting here, and then once I finally got here, everything just, I kind of broke down for a little bit. When she was at work, I just kind of sat there in the condo by myself, trying not to cry, just out of joy and happiness, and just letting all of the exhaustion and everything just release to where I could just relax. Sitting in there with a nice hot shower for like an hour and a half of just, okay, I'm really here. I made it. Nothing in my luggage was stolen. I didn't get robbed or something. Like, I'm here. I'm okay. We can make this work. And realizing that this is now my home. I'm not a tourist, really. I'm going to be a resident soon. Like, I'm home now. And it took a little bit for that to set in, but when it did, I started instantly becoming more and more and more comfortable, and just feeling at ease and relaxed, more than I was in the U.S. Like, a lot of the anxiety that I would have in the U.S. of being around a bunch of other people and being in crowds, I started getting over that a little bit. And yeah, here you're walking through the streets and everything, crowded everywhere. Malls are crowded. You climb in the back of a jeepney, it's crowded. I was okay with all of it. I knew the tricks and tips on keeping secure and keeping an eye out for, pickpockets, thieves, and things like that. But it just, some things were different, but a lot of it was still the same. And it was a good experience finally being able to get here and really realize that I am now home in a sense, because this is now my home. And that's pretty much it. It was a very difficult time once I decided that I knew I would have to come here. It was a very rapid process, very stressful process. And although my situation is probably a little bit more unique than what most others are going to be experiencing, I realize that there are going to be some people out there that are in situations where things are getting really bad, things are going downhill fast, and you're looking for a way out. Maybe you had a rough marriage, you recently got divorced, and your wife took everything. Now you're, 40, 50, 60 years old. You don't have much of anything left. You're having to start over from the beginning. You're going to have to move into an apartment by yourself. And you're basically going to be having to restart your whole life again in that environment. It's very difficult. You might be at that breaking point. And the possibility, the thought of moving overseas somewhere like the Philippines or Thailand, where you've got beaches and a way to relax, and your money's going to go stretch a little bit farther than normal, it's very tempting. So there's a good chance that some people, while not in the same situation I was, they might be in a similar enough situation that hopefully my story will connect with those people, with you guys watching enough to understand that moving here can be a lifesaver. It's not always going to be easy. Things are always going to pop up probably. Everybody's got a little bit of different things going on. It's possible your move here could be perfectly smooth and stress-free, or you could have even more problems along the way than I did. But it is still something that you really need to think about and consider, and make sure you've got yourself covered as much as possible. My example, I didn't have any savings, so when I came here, if it hadn't been for that quick loan, I would have been screwed. I would have never got here. I really don't know what would have happened to me at that point. But it's just, as long as you can stay focused on why you're moving, when things get real bad, suck it up and drive on. Just push through the bad, get through the negative, and no matter how bad things are, just think about, you've probably had worse happen in your life before and you got through it. It sucks, but you can do it. And if you get here with no problems, awesome, congrats. But if your process of getting things together to come over here is challenging, it's difficult, such as COVID shit and having to wait 6 months to a year before you can even get over here, I understand the frustration and the challenges, the difficulties, the problems. You just got to keep getting, motor through it until you're able to make it happen. If this is really what you want, don't give up on it, but just really make sure this is what you want, because if you move over here and things don't work out, it's just going to end up costing you a lot of money and frustration in the end. So try your best to make sure this is really what you want. That being said, right now, even though financially things aren't in the best situation, I've still got some debts that I'm slowly trying to pay off while I still manage my expenses here, but I'm still okay. I don't have any government assistance here. I'm not having to rely on food donations. I'm not having to rely on government housing assistance. I don't have to rely on any of that. I'm able to do it on my own simply with my $893 that I get from VA disability. So hopefully this has just been useful information for some of you guys, and for those that didn't find it quite as useful because your situations are so far different, maybe this has at least been information that you found entertaining. So I do appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.